Under New York state law, it is a felony to falsify business records with intent to defraud and an intent to conceal another crime.
On March 30th, 2023, Donald Trump, who served as the 45th President of the United States, was indicted by a Manhattan grand jury for allegedly falsifying business records to mask illegal activity in relation to his presidential campaign in 2016. These charges made Trump the first U.S. president to be indicted and arise from Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg's nearly 5-year investigation of hush money payments made to women such as American pornographic actress Stormy Daniels and American actress and model Karen McDougal, who claimed having extramarital affairs with Trump. The charges were unveiled on April 4, 2023, the date of Trump's arraignment in the Manhattan Criminal Court. Currently, Trump must take on 34 charges of falsifying business records in the first degree, which he pleads not guilty to. Falsifying business records in New York is a misdemeanor, but can change into a felony if there was a purpose to conceal or commit another crime. All of the charges are associated with a particular item in the business documents of the Trump Organization. The statement of facts that were accompanied by the charges goes into more detail of how Trump presumably planned an illegal scheme with individuals to sway the 2016 presidential election, and that those participants have admitted to executing those illegal acts. The charging documents claim that after the 2005 Access Hollywood tape that contained vulgar comments from Donald Trump about women, the editor-in-chief and CEO of the American tabloid newspaper National Enquirer spoke with Michael Cohen, who was Trump's attorney at the time, and informed him that Stormy Daniels professed that she had an affair with Trump. It goes on to state that Cohen worked out a hush money payment and non-disclosure agreement with Daniels in the few last weeks before the presidential election to stifle the affair claims. The statement of facts brings up another allegation of how Trump and Cohen made an agreement in the Oval Office to where Trump had personally signed and hid reimbursement checks to Cohen and labeled them for legal services. The amount totaled to $420,000, with $130,000 being for the payment made to Daniels and $180,000 for Cohen to handle his tax affairs. A $60,000 bonus was also in the mix, and another allegation that Trump would pay Cohen $35,000 a month for only a year. The statement of facts that the defendant and lawyer A met in the Oval Office confirmed this payment arrangement. In Michael Cohen's congressional testimony, he even revealed one of the $35,000 checks to support that Trump was a part of the deal and worked at his instructions. The prosecutors state that these checks were even being withdrawn directly from Trump's bank account. To quote from the statement of facts, each check was processed by the Trump Organization, and each check was disguised as a payment for legal services rendered in a given month of 2017 pursuant to a retainer agreement, prosecutors wrote in the statement of facts accompanying the indictment. The payment records kept and maintained by the Trump Organization were false New York business records. In truth, there was no retainer agreement, and lawyer A was not being paid for the legal services rendered in 2017 in reference to Cohen. There was also an instance in the statement of facts that claims Trump was fathering a child outside of his marriage, and the formerly known media company America Media Inc., now A360 Media, paid the doorman $30,000 to have exclusive rights to the story and to silence him. Apparently, AMI did not investigate the claims and said that the claims were not true. Prosecutors state that the payment was also falsified in AMI's books. Another instance was in June 2016 with Karen McDougal's allegations of having an affair with Trump. Cohen had allegedly met with AMI's CEO David Pecker and had talks about who would pay off McDougal. In the end, AMI was party to pay McDougal in the amount of $150,000. On September 2018, the Southern District of New York's U.S. Attorney Office set up a non-prosecution agreement with AMI in relation to the payment with McDougal. AMI revealed to officials that the payment to McDougal was indeed to make sure she did not publicize damaging allegations about Trump before the 2016 presidential election and thereby influence the election. Prosecutors are hoping that AMI's involvement in the whole scheme will also assist in convincing the jury that the payments contradict with how they were recorded in the books and that they were entirely for protecting Trump's success for the presidential election. Soon after Trump's arraignment, Bragg spoke on how there may be two other possible laws broken in Trump's case. They are the New York state election law and the federal election law. Bragg states for the New York election law that would involve conspiring to promote a candidacy by unlawful means, while federal election law involves the maximum amounts that are allowed to be donated to candidates. Despite all the charges, Trump still labels the whole case as a political persecution, which beckoned to hurt his chances in becoming the 47th president of the United States. Ever since the news of the indictment, Trump's campaign sent out a mass amount of emails and posts on his Truth Social platform requesting donations to help against the Manhattan investigation, labeling the investigation as a witch hunt and political persecution. 3 days after the promotion, his team reported that they managed to raise over $7 million from donations. This incredible surge of grassroots contributions confirms that the American people see the indictment of President Trump as a disgraceful weaponization of our justice system by a Soros-funded prosecutor. Many in the Republican Party are sharing the same attitude about the indictment. Speaker of the House and Congressman of California's 20th Congressional District, Kevin McCarthy, posted on Twitter that Alvin Bragg is attempting to interfere in our democratic process by invoking federal law to bring politicized charges against President Trump, admittedly using federal funds, while at the same time arguing that the people's representatives in Congress lack jurisdiction to investigate this farce. Not so. Bragg's weaponization of the federal justice process will be held accountable by Congress. Georgia Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene serves as another example. She showed up to support a protest against the indictment of Trump with the New York Young Republican Club on the day of his arraignment. Although the GOP support for Trump is strong, many Democrats and independents are in support of the indictment, according to a poll done by CNN. Democrats are near universal in their support for the indictment, 94% approving, including 71% who strongly approve of the indictment. Independents largely line up in support of the indictment, 62% approving and 38% who disapprove. Republicans are less unified in opposition, 79% disapprove, with 54% strongly disapproving. The poll also revealed that about 60% of Americans approve of the indictment, but 76% believe that the decision to indict Trump was politically motivated. Not only that, but it finds that majorities across major demographic divides all approve of the decision to indict the former president. That includes gender, 62% of women, 58% of men, racial and ethnic groups, 82% of Black adults, 71% of Hispanic adults, 51% of white adults. Generational lines, 69% under the age of 35, 62% between the ages of 35 and 49, 53% between the ages of 50 and 64, 54% age 65 or older. And educational levels, 68% with college degrees, 56% with some college or less. For those that disapprove of the indictment, the results showed that the perception that Trump's actions were questionable is fairly widespread, with about half in that group saying that Trump did something wrong regarding payments to Daniels, at 52%. Far more in that group say he acted unethically, rather than illegally, through 49% unethical and 3% illegal, with the remainder split between thinking he did nothing wrong, at 23%, and not being sure, at 24%. Regardless of the poll, the case is indeed challenging and presents many questions. Never before has a president of the United States been indicted, and prosecutors of New York have never had to deal with a case that breaches the state election law combined with distorting business records. All 34 counts that Trump faces fall under a Class E felony that could result in a maximum sentence of 4 years. However, New York criminal law experts state that the chances of that happening are slim, and Trump may not face prison time. But if he does, it would likely be only a few months since he is a first-time offender. This is proven in Article 70, number 4 of sentences of imprisonment of New York State statute. It states that when a person other than a second or persistent felony offender is sentenced for a Class D or Class E felony, and the court, having regard to the nature and circumstances of the crime and to the history and character of the defendant, is of the opinion that a sentence of imprisonment is necessary, but that it would be unduly harsh to impose an indeterminate or determinate sentence, the court may impose a definite sentence of imprisonment and fix a term of 1 year or less. Nothing is for certain on how the case will pan out for Trump, but Juan Merchant, who is currently the acting justice of the New York Supreme Court in New York County, has scheduled the next major court date for December the 4th, 2023. Although there is a possibility for it to be delayed due to Trump's legal team asking for it to be pushed into spring of next year. Delayed or not, the trial will be the next major progression in this unprecedented case.